Thank you, everybody. Just move this out of the way. Okay, so I have 3 fears. Okay, 3. First, sharks, because they're terrifying. Right? I think we can all agree there. I don't know how many Discovery Channel shows you guys watch, Shark Week, all that, but look at their eyes if you can. They are solid black, and they're empty except for hate. That's all that's there. Just pure hate. The second one is ridiculous. I have this really incredibly intense, irrational fear, I swear, of automatic staplers. I always feel like they're going to, like, staple me. You're gonna jump, and I won't defend it. I accept it's ridiculous. I accept your judgment. Thanks. And my third, which is what I'm going to talk about, heights. Okay, I'm really scared of heights. And before I get into what the story is about, so earlier one of the other performers, Elizabeth, the second performer, talked about how it's really hard to overcome the pressure that other people put on you to do what you don't want to do, right? People want to try and take you and put you in a box and strip away what makes you you. And she talked about how you can overcome that, right? This story of overcoming this fear and this triumph of human will over this kind of pressure and triumphing over adversity. My story is the opposite of that. My story is about how the fear of public shame overcame my desire to stay alive. Alright. So here's what happened. I was with some friends and they were going skydiving. I was not going skydiving. Emphatically not going skydiving. They were going skydiving. I went along purely for support. Okay? I said, I will go with you. And they were cool with it. They kind of bugged me a little bit about it, but once they realized I wasn't going to do it, they were fine. So they go, and they sign up, and they pay, and they go through the training, which is the most ridiculous word ever to use in that situation, the training for jumping out of an airplane. I'll talk more about the training in a minute. It's ridiculous. That's a spoiler. So they're all suited up in their flight suits, and I am standing there, and they're waiting for their flight. And I remember having this momentary pang of jealousy where I basically, for a brief moment, from the safety of the ground, mind you, said out loud, man, I kind of wish I was going skydiving. Mistake! That was, yeah, instantly 3 heads of 3 separate people, like, not one 3-headed person, but 3 heads snap around with smiles on their faces, and it was like, oh, you're going. And when I said I kind of wish I was going skydiving, like, I meant it. Those are 2 key words in that sentence. I kind of wish. You know how, like, some people times you say, like, oh, I'm going to go punch my boss in the face, but you're not going to punch your boss in the face, and you say it because your boss isn't there, and there's no danger of punching your boss in the face. It's just something you say, right? It's like, I said I want to go skydiving from the safety of the ground. Right? But because peer pressure and shame are things, I immediately agreed I would go skydiving. So now, some people I think don't really understand the fear of skydiving. Like, I know a lot of people do, but for those of you who don't, because it's really safe in a lot of ways, except for the fact that you're falling out of an airplane, which you should never do. But here's what skydiving is intellectually. Like, I know that everyone knows what skydiving is, like, in your head, intellectually know what skydiving is. What you do is, it's pretty simple, right? You walk to a plane, you get on the plane takes off, you jump out of the plane. Here's what really happens. You walk to a plane. You get in the plane takes off, and you jump out of it. Do you see that difference? It's subtle, but profound. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I'm an adult, right? I'm in control of my own body. I could have said no, but I didn't. Poor decision-making skills right there. But so once you decide you're going to go skydiving, it's really weird because you make the decision on the ground safe. You're safe at that point. You make the decision then. But it's a process. They don't just take you in a plane and, like, throw you out. Like, there's a whole series of steps in which you become progressively closer to this end point where you'll be jumping out of the plane. And at every step, there's this little tiny slice of safety that's just removed from you, right? As you get closer and closer to jumping out of an airplane. And the first is you go and you pay. You say, here is currency. I would like to give it to you so that I might use your plane, but only halfway. Okay. Then they train you, and okay, you want to know? Okay, here's the training. They take you in a little room, and then you watch a video, and then they teach you how to do this. This is okay. This is a little demonstration. Not that, not feedback. That's not the demonstration. I'll hold on to this. This is what they do. This is. Hey, stop. You're all ready. That's it. A video on that. They tell you when you jump out of the plane, you go into that position, and then so you're trained. And then it's like, okay, I'm trained. I'm a trained skydiver. Like I'm gonna go do this. And then you put on the suit, and the suit is like this giant, not giant, because I'm huge. No, it's a reasonably sized nylon onesie, basically, and they're very colorful. Apparently, like if you hit the ground with a parachute, they want to find you. I don't know what deals with the colors, but they're the bowling shoes, but you wear it while you roll on. And it's covered in straps and buckles and so on. Nowhere near enough, in my mind, because the straps and buckles are used to strap you to the guy, the middle-aged dude, who will be jumping with you, because they don't let you go alone, because, I don't know, insurance, I guess. I don't really know why, but... one person on that one. Thanks. That was good. Because it's tandem skydiving, they don't let you go by yourself. You're strapped to another person who knows what they're doing, which is good, because otherwise it'd be bad. But when you're in back, you're getting dressed, and I don't know, it's weird, like, clothes are powerful, right? What you are wearing decides your role at any given moment, and when you put on the gear of the skydiver, you metaphorically transform at that point. It becomes like you become a skydiver at that second, right? Because you're wearing a uniform. And one of the worst things, and this is the most horrifying realization I think I had the entire process. When you get dressed, you're in the back room. At least I was in this back room. And you know who else is in the back room? The people whose job it is to fold the parachutes. Okay? That's a job that people have. Human beings go to work every day and say, I'm going to fold me some parachutes. That's horrible. Because people make mistakes all the time. And I don't want to I want to believe that my parachute was like folded by the hands of God with loving care. Not some dude who's been working 8 hours who's like, I just want to fucking go home. I just want to go home. Just one more goddamn parachute. I'm going to flip out. That's all it takes, right? And it's apparently, and they don't help the matters at all by telling, when the guy you're strapped to is just making conversation. Do you have any idea how complicated it is to fold a parachute? Oh man, one mistake and you have no idea. Oh, it's really bad. Oh, no way. It's like, no, they can't just let anybody do that. You need to really be trained. And then I'm walking around and the people, they're just like regular dudes. And I do not have any faith or confidence in them at all at that point. And then they give you a parachute. So you become a person with a parachute because you're going to jump out of a plane. And you need a parachute for that. I never thought I'd be the dude with the parachute. But I was for a while. And then you walk to the plane. You get in the plane. And the plane, you can't really walk around in it. It's really low. So you have to, like, duck walk like this. Right? I just want to soak that in for a second. Now imagine that, but with a middle-aged man also duck walking with you onto a plane. Like, you have to coordinate legs. It's not easy or fun, and it's awkward. And you're rubbing up against each other, too, which is extra awesome. And so we get on the plane, and the plane takes off. And I honestly, I swear, I don't remember that much of it. I was so terrified. But there are two things that stood out in my mind. One is that I was so scared. I was so scared. The guy who I was strapped to, at one point, put out his hand to mine, had me put my hand on his, and we did breathing exercises together. Like, in any other context, that I would have been like, no. In this context, I was like, yes. It was surreal. And the other moment, this was horrible. I remember at one point, I was next to the window, because that's where we put the scared guy. I was looking out the window, and I remember at one point thinking, oh my god, we are so high up, we are so high up. Just that phrase kept running through my head, we're so high up, this is horrible. And then at that moment, the timing was amazing. The captain comes on and says over the loudspeaker, so we're about 6,000 feet up, over a mile, by the way. And we're almost halfway to our jump point of 13,500 feet, so just settle in, we're going to be there in a minute. Like, we weren't even halfway there at that point, and I was already so scared. Like, I'm scared now, thinking about it. So we fly up higher, and at one point, we hit 13,500 feet, and they make an announcement, like they're all proud. No, let's go back. Just go. And then they open the door on a plane. And you're in the air, and they open the door! And that's when it becomes really, really real, except, so there's been this progression, like you start on the ground, and then you jump out of a plane, but, all these steps in between. But there's, at that moment, so they open the door, and you can see the sky from an open door, and you can hear it, and it's loud. But there's still a bunch of people in front of you, right? There's still a bunch of people there, and, they're going to go first, okay? So first, the individual skydivers, the ones who are trained, the ones who know what they're doing, the ones who are pros, basically, they jump out, and they're fine. Then you have people who jump out, like, holding on. I don't know what the deal is with this, but there were these two guys, they weren't strapped to this other guy, they were just holding on to him, and they all jumped out together at the same time. Don't know why. Don't know what's happening there, but they just, like, each grabbing an arm, like, let's go! Like, I don't know if he was, like, really resistant or something, I don't know, but they were just, like, throwing themselves out with it. But eventually it gets to the point where there is no one in front of you anymore, right? Like, it's your turn. And that is the longest duck walk ever. Every inch of my body is fighting against this. The only thing that kept me going was, I'm going to look dumb if I don't turn around. Which is a terrible reason to do anything, right? I mean, it's like, the survival instinct is, I thought, the most powerful instinct that we had. No, apparently, not even a little bit, because I went. And so you walk, and you have to get to you duck walk over, and you get to the edge of the door there, and you turn around. And later on, a friend who I was with told me that when she looked at me at that point, it looked like I had left my body, is what she said. I was so out of it. And then you just kind of lean and just kind of fall out. And no one has ever gone into like that position that I demonstrated earlier faster ever. Okay? I was like lightning. I was like immediate. I don't remember it at all, but it was videotaped. I can relive it as many times as I want. So, I'm falling out of this plane. Well, I'm out of the plane at this point. Falling, and it was terrifying, but also just exhilarating and amazing and terrifying and incredible and terrifying and awesome and horribly terrifying. And it was really like weirdly loud and fast, but at the same time just incredibly like weirdly quiet and peaceful and slow at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what it was. And then we're falling, and the guy did something that pissed me off at that moment, where she tried to get me to pull the ripcord, and I had specifically told him before that I wanted no part of pulling the ripcord, but he tried to get me to pull it, and I was very angry at that point. You pull your goddamn self. That's why I'm paying you. Which is the thought that was going through my head. And I had this this was my big fear. My big fear the whole time was that he was going to pull the ripcord, and he was going to get pulled up, and all the straps would break, and I would keep falling, and I'd be laying up like that, and I would just die. Thankfully, that did not happen. So he pulls the ripcord, and I imagine it was a sudden stop, but I don't remember it at all. What I do remember, though, and I swear to God, the first words out of this guy's mouth, we have just jumped out of an airplane, okay? And we're stopped now, and it's so quiet and so peaceful at that point, and the first words out of his mouth, I swear to God, were, "How are your balls?" And in my best unintentional Tony the Tiger impression, I said, "They're great!" And they were. And it was amazing, and I'm glad I did it, but I will never fucking skydive ever again. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.